Hey, welcome back to A Faster Me. We're at CBR number 3, and this is my second race of the day. This is the category 4-5, and in this race I have two teammates. I have George and Tony, and yeah, just I decided to do this race for a couple reasons. One, because on the team we have a couple Cat 5 racers that this is their first year racing, and I told them this would be an opportunity for us to all be in the same race. However, two of them didn't get in. The race filled up. So this is Tony's first category 4-5 race. He did a great job. Also, hung in there. His second race of the day, first time doing two races, and he finished with the pack as well. Just had a pack finish. So as you can see at the bottom, I didn't turn my computer on, so I'm missing the first lap. I turn it on the second lap. So, it's kind of funny, like just getting started at the beginning of a race. You see Ladon in front of me. This is his second race as well, and his first turn in there wasn't wasn't really smooth. But sometimes that's how it is when we're going slow. We're used to going a faster speed, and you turn in kind of quick. You're used to having those quick reflexes, and we're just going slow, and sometimes you still have your brain wants to turn quick, but your body's just not carrying enough speed. So just something to look out for. Now if you look at them on this turn, perfect, real smooth, hits the apex, because we're up to speed a little bit now, and your brain's clicked on to getting in race mode and starting to pick up the pace a little. So anyway, I try to keep my focus a little bit better this race. As you can see, I start off at least at the front, pointy end. This is kind of where I want to be, top 10, top 12, stuff like that. But it doesn't last long. I just not real focused and really in race mode at this point. It's getting there. I'm getting better. I can tell I felt a lot better this race than I did the first one, even though my legs were completely shot out, just haven't been racing. And so at the beginning of this race, I was already kind of dead leg, but they warmed up a little bit and I felt fine. But at least I was able to start feeling a little bit racy again, started getting a little bit into the swing of things. So I felt good, and I'm looking forward to the next few races. I'm gonna end up doing Laverne. I'm not really looking forward to that as far as like I'm not there, you know what I mean? I'm not there yet. GMR, not my thing. Big road races, they don't suit me so well at this point. By the time we reach the crit, especially racing against the threes with the 3-4, I'm not too optimistic about that, but I am excited about getting out there racing and competing, and hopefully I'm get my competitive spirit back and give it a go. So anyway, in this race we got the usual suspects, same as the Cat 4 race basically. Obviously it's just a blend of Cat 4 and Cat 5 riders. The Cat 4 racers in the 4-5, they typically kind of dominate the field a little bit. It's a little slower pace normally, so more guys are able to play up front and try some things. As far as this day, for me, the Cat 4-5 race was actually faster than the Cat 4 race, and that's probably partially due to the crash, and we had 2 slow laps. So we averaged about the same though. It was like mid 26s, so it's really close to the same. And given that we had to slow down for a couple laps, it's not that surprising that we were a little faster in the 4-5 than we were in the pure 4. So anyway, yeah, I'm just sitting in. It's starting to stretch a little bit, and I fell back a couple spots. Try to move up here, and I did a really poor job of just attaching and stuff like that. So like that guy accelerated. I obviously saw him, had plenty of time to react, and I reacted late, causing me to use over 400 watts, when if I would have just reacted a little sooner, I probably could have kept it in the 300s. I know it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but 30 minutes of extra 100 watts here and there, it all adds up and just taxes you. You're going to pay that tax at the end of the race. So, but anyway, I got back on, had to use a little bit of my own power. As you can see, it's a night and day. I start off night and day from the first race. I'm up here at the front. I think there may be 1 or 2 guys that has, about a 5-6 second lead on us here. I wasn't going to actually chase it down. I wouldn't mind working, but at the same time, it's early in the race, and I know there's a lot of people that's just itching to itching to run that down. So I still just kind of step back and try to fall in a little bit, but I don't know where or why, but somewhere in here, my focus just fades a little bit, and honestly, it's just practice and confidence, just getting it back. Here's another situation where I just don't accelerate. I can. I'm not popped. I'm not tapped. My heart rate's low. I max out at like 197 on sprints and about 188 in sustained efforts. So 173 is basically just my threshold heart rate. So that's nothing. I'm not into VO2 yet or anything. So I can hold that for a very long time. And I'm just letting people waltz by me, I'm on a Sunday group right now instead of a race. So still not that bad though. I'm not like too far back or out of position. I'm not using too much energy right here. 300 watts is, maybe more than I want to do, but 300 watts for a minute is not a big deal. Especially when there's a downhill coming here and there's plenty of time to recover. We're actually not even going that fast. I mean, we're only doing 23, 24 here. And, in the Cat 4 race, we were definitely going a lot faster at times. But the pace will pick up. So I see the guys from the Wolves teams here. That's Marcelo's teammates. And they're pretty steady. I have no complaints. I followed some of them a little bit here and there, and they look pretty good. They look steady, and I know a couple of them are doing next week's race, so I'm excited to see how they're gonna do. And here I just open up too big of a gap. I'm not sure who that is from Go Fast. It might be Matt, but he comes through and closes the gap a little bit, and I'm really just resting my legs. But I was definitely too passive and give away a couple secrets here. When everyone else is coasting, that's a definitely good time for you to move up. It takes little energy, like here. Everyone's coasting except me. But as you can see, we're not putting in that much power now. So once we get over this little hump and it goes downhill, everyone's just drafting, using momentum. This is a good chance to move up right here without using too much power. I can probably use 150 to 200 watts here and just move up on one of the sides. But I didn't take advantage of it. But you can get a good, 5, 8, 10 spots. Do that every couple laps or every lap until you're in position that you want to be in. That was just opportunities I missed, and I missed taking advantage of other people's willingness to use their effort, use their own energy, and I let a lot of wheels pass, a lot of wheels go. I was just content with finishing the race. So, I'm kind of beating a dead horse or whatever, but that's just where I'm at right now. I got to get my confidence back, and that's only going to come through doing more races. So that's why I'm probably going to end up doing Laverne, just to get racing in. And like I said, I want to do well at Marietta. So, Laverne is going to just be what it is. And Marietta, hopefully I have my head on straight, and I'm looking to get a good result in Marietta. So anyway, we're getting up to speed a little bit here. We're at 28 miles per hour. Again, here I could have put in more effort, but I didn't need to. I'm just tail gunning here, letting my momentum carry me through the turn, start pedaling early, and try not to spike too high. As you can see there, I just hit 400 watts. So, that's a little bit of a spike, but it's not that bad. It's not that bad. I only hit 400 watts for like 2 seconds. So it's not a big effort at all. Same thing here. Don't brake. Just cruise through. I'll probably spike a little bit more here because people accelerate hard over the hump. And you can see 500 watts. So it's a 100 watt difference there from turn 1 to turn 2, just because of that little hump. And honestly, it's more so just because people are brake checking. That's why a lot of the older races and pro races and higher category races are a lot faster, a lot smoother. And some of the same guys that we race against that have moved up to Cat 3 now, they've done their first pro races, and they've averaged like 220, 230 watts for the entire race. I averaged 247 for this race. And that's just because the draft effect is increased with speed, and the races are a lot more smooth, so there's not as much brake checking and surging. So here, I don't know what I was doing. I just sat in the abyss. I was in a big pocket of air, and I had two choices. I had a line on the right, line on the left that I could have jumped on, and I chose to just be passive and sit in the middle there. So yeah, you always want to, especially in crits, you always want to be on a wheel. If you're not putting in your own effort and pulling or going out front, you always want to be tucked in and using somebody else's energy. It's another example here. I do move over, but as you can see, I'm not accelerating. I can use his energy to move up a little bit. And I do it, but that's not really how you do it. I should have had a little more urgency, been a little more assertive doing that, and just moving up while other people are using energy. And, if they're willing to stick their nose in the wind, I just attach myself to their wheel and use their energy to move up. That's the proper way to do it. Obviously, if you want to really run up front, at some point you are going to have to use your own energy. Some people take it as a badge of honor of putting in work, and that's great. But honestly, you really should only be putting in work when it benefits you or your teammate. Not just there's really nothing to prove out here to anybody else. So just a little tip, and I know I'm speaking to my opponents, but it's not that big of a deal. I mean, we're at Cat 4, and no matter what secrets I may give away, everyone still has to be disciplined enough to do it, including myself. I know all these things, and just a little month off from racing, and it's like I'm starting all over again. I think this is my first time. I don't know if that's a team in front of me in the green and white, but I think it's my first time seeing that kit. And I can't really read it because I'm going blind, but I've never really seen that team out there. So if anybody knows what team that is, throw it up in the comments, and just to educate me a little bit. Today too, the second race was more windy than the first race. So I did try to stay to the inside this time, especially over here going uphill on the left. The wind's coming off of the right, and it was a lot stronger than it was in the first race. So a little more protected on the inside. And I think for majority of this race, I hugged the inside of the course. You can carry a lot of speed sometimes on the outside, but you don't really have control over what line you choose. And anytime there's trouble, everything gets pushed to the outside. It's no different when I was racing motorcycles. Almost all vehicle racing, the person on the inside kind of controls their own line. Everyone on the outside is going to have to wait to initiate their turn in after the inside initiates their turn in. When that doesn't happen, sometimes you'll have collisions because if the person on the outside has a different line in mind, they're going to run wide, and it just pushes everyone wide. So definitely, I was able to control my own destiny going on the inside a little more. I like to say too, a little spoiler alert, because I'm not going to be close enough to see the finish anyway. But Connor won this race, and I raced with Connor, here and there last year in the Cat 5 category, and he's doing well as well this year. I talked about Tony Dominguez in the last video, but Connor's one of the guys too that, he was running up front last year, and then he came on really strong at the end, and got his first podium, and then later got a win. I think I want to say he may have won the state championship. I know it's not an official state championship for Cat 5, but I want to say he may have won that road race or podiumed again on that road race, and then he comes away with the win today on this race. So great job to him, and he's making a lot of good progress, and he's a young guy, so who knows, the future could be bright for him. And I say this race too, being that it's a mixed 4-5 field, everyone did a great job. I mean, the field's capped. Both races that we had 75 plus people in the race. and that's max for Cat 4 and Cat 5. And it was pretty safe. You know, it wasn't too many close calls, anything like that. It's bike racing, so sometimes there's always going to be, you know, some near misses and things like that. But overall, I think this race was pretty safe. And if there was some crashes or anything that I missed, they definitely were well in the back and not didn't seem to be too significant. But yeah, it was a little faster to start off here, or at least more stretched out. I don't know if people are just tired or if it's the difference in the wind, but yeah, it definitely seemed a little safer and a little more stretched out than we were in the first race. And that could just be because we're not all the same category in here, you know. Could just be that it's a mix of faster and slower riders, so some of the slower riders are having trouble matching the pace because, you know, the pace is about the same as the earlier race. So and most likely that's probably has a little more to do with it. We probably are just running the same speeds, but a few of the riders just aren't able to hold the same pace. So I don't know for sure if I said anything to the guy in orange there. He kind of looked at me though, so we may have had a little conversation. I just don't recall it if we did. But, you know, on this incline, I usually have a really fast cadence just in general when I cycle, and I've been working on lowering my cadence on some of my power climbs. I switched coaches at the beginning of the year, and I've been training with Cinch for the last like month or two. And you know, Cinch has a, you know, their own belief, or it's not really their own. It is kind of somewhat universal in cycling about cadence control. And in general, when you're in crit races, you're going to have a fast cadence. And the reason is because the crit races are based off of acceleration and attacks and just like changing the pace. Not so much changing the pace, but matching other people's accelerations. So anytime you need to match accelerations, your cadence is going to be higher. And then like something like time trials, once you get up to speed to maintain your speed, you'll have more of a medium cadence, you know, more something in the 80s. Could be in the 70s, but I would guess most people would probably be in the 80s, just rolling a little bit bigger gear and maintaining speed. And then like for ultimate control, you're going to have a lower cadence. And what I've been working with Cinch is some of the climbs, my cadence is 50 to 70 just for control. Now, obviously, unless everybody's cadence is 50 to 70, you're not going to be able to match an acceleration at that cadence. You'd have to, you know, obviously up your cadence to match someone's attack or something. But just controlling your own heart rate, your own pace, carry a little bigger gear and roll at a slower cadence, that can save you a little bit as far as like overheating and just producing power and holding a consistent power and a consistent pace or tempo. So what I did was I started doing that a little bit, not that low, not down to 50 or 70, because like I said, I would not be able to match an acceleration. But I did start dropping my cadence a little bit here and there, going into the low 90s and into the 80s. Because normally, as you can see now, I'm like up to 198, stuff like that. This is my typical climbing. And I'm going to do this anytime I think the pace is a little faster, or if I think I need to match an acceleration, or, you know, people are trying to get away a little bit. But when it bunches up and we're going fairly slow, I'm definitely going to drop my cadence, run a little bit heavier gear, and try to manage my heart rate and stuff like that. But overall, yeah, I still like to run a high cadence. I think I averaged this, I don't know, this race I think I averaged 93, 94, something like that. But often in crit races, I'm well up into the high 90s. I felt good this whole race, so like I said, I'm a little disappointed that I didn't take advantage. I wasn't really racing. I just wasn't really racing today. Like, I wasn't making moves. I wasn't really too focused on making moves, but there's a lot of times where the peloton's just coasting and I had plenty of opportunity to move up. I'm on the side. I'm not boxed in, anything like that. I can easily move up a good 10, 20 spots, and I just wasn't doing it. I was just content being where I'm at. Like I said, my heart rate's only 170. This is easy riding for me. This is nothing like, yeah, this is nothing special. This isn't like fast at all. So yeah, I'm not saying the speed, I'm saying like my effort level. So yeah, I just got to get that mentality back, jump in there, stay focused, make moves, and get a better result. But again, anytime your field is stretched out, that means the pace is fast for the conditions. Like I said, it may not be fast as other races, or it may not be as fast as you think we can go, but if people could go faster, they would, and it would bunch up, kind of like it's bunching up now, just because people are making moves. But that was a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Two guys fly by with speed, and I just sit here. I could have jumped on their wheel. Yes, I would have had to put a little effort in, but it's going to be less of an effort than what they're putting in, and I would have moved up a good 15, 20 spots. It's definitely bunching up now. Could have been a preem or might be a preem lap, or that last lap might have been a preem lap and someone was trying to get a flyer for the preem. I know for whatever reason this weekend I could not hear the bells that well, and it may be because there was a lady on the side ringing a bell on every lap, so I may have just become numb to the bell, and we can't really hear the announcements all that well either. You go by the speaker so fast, and sometimes you hear it, sometimes you don't. But yeah, I never really heard a bell like the official bell. I just always heard the cowbell that was on the right side of the course, and I think at one point I blocked it out. So this is another thing. I've talked about it before in my videos with like the tail gunning and stuff like that. Like, I'm pretty much seated every time coming out of turn two. And you see a lot of people standing and sprinting for a couple seconds, and that's something I try to avoid. It takes a lot of energy. Obviously, you need to do it if the entire peloton or whatever is accelerating and you don't think that you can accelerate seated. But that's one of the reasons why I try pretty much at all costs never to hit my brakes, kind of carry momentum through there and just start pedaling early, and you don't have to spike as high. So if you can see here, I was gonna say, like, if you can see here, I'm at 80, a cadence of 80 now, and this is what I was talking about, just dropping your cadence sometimes. I could be in the easier gear, spinning in the 90s still, but just to manage my heart rate and stuff like that. And you see my heart rate's down to 162. That's just some of the tactics you use. And here I was doing it as well, but obviously when people are accelerating, you gotta spin it up and accelerate. But when I was going downhill, I was shifting to heavier gears as well, just to carry a little speed and not have to, accelerate so hard or use your cadence so high. I actually really like this course though, and this layout. I think I missed it this year in order to do it the other direction, but yeah, I'd like to do the entire season next year. And yeah, I like the venue. CBR, I was not really a big fan of it last year so much, but it's grown on me, and yeah, I think I'd do the rest of the season, and hopefully I can do some of the configurations that I missed this year, next year. So there's my teammate to the right, almost getting his wheel taken out by the guy with the yellow bike. Again, just a racing incident, but that's Tony. This is Tony's first, it's Tony Dang, it's his first Category 4-5 race. And like I said, he's right there with me. Everyone's a little nervous when they step up to another category, and Tony did a great job, especially for this being his second race of the day, and only about his third race of the year, so third or fourth race of the year, or third or fourth race ever. So that's Tony over there to the right, going up the right side. I think I have a little conversation with him here for a second. I don't know if it's this lap or the next. Our teammate, I think, attacked off the front. I think George went off the front for a second, tried to attack up the hill. I think it was a short-lived attack, but I saw him up there on the right, and I told Tony, I said, hey, let's get up there and see if we can help him out. And this is going into the last lap here, if I'm not mistaken. So I try to pass on the left. I don't know if this is Supreme or the last lap, but try to move up on the right side here a little bit. But again, just didn't really put any effort in and had a good chance, good space to make up a few spots there. Yeah, maybe this is, can't tell yet. I don't know if this is the last lap or a preem. I think it's just a preem lap. And then we'll be going into we'll be going into one to go after we come back around the start finish. But yeah, I'm definitely way too passive. I have a lot of energy still right now. My best chance is, a sprint finish. And right here, I definitely need to move up a good 15 spots, at least 15 spots minimum on this lap, and then probably another 10 spots on the next lap before making a move at somewhere up that hill. As you can see, I'm like sitting in about, I don't know, 30th, 35th place or something right here, maybe even deeper than that. Pace is pretty high, so I don't know if this is the last lap or not. Yeah, I don't think so. We have one to go, I think, after this. This is just a preem lap. Again, here I'm just getting a very little benefit of the draft because the wind's coming off to the right. So definitely being a rookie here and just getting hit in the face with a bunch of wind, crosswind, and putting in way too much, not way too much, but putting in more effort than I need to if I would have stayed to the left side. Protected myself from the wind. So now we're going into the last lap. Obviously, some people put in a lot of effort here for the preem, and this is again a perfect opportunity. I should be shooting up the right side here. Got to put in my own work here and just make up some spots. And definitely, I should have been in good position the last 3 laps at least, but yeah. Definitely there's no sense of urgency on me when there should be. I should be doing everything I can to move up. Doesn't matter about saving energy or anything, because when you save energy and you're still from 30th, you're definitely not going to win the race, and you're not going to come in much more than 20th or so. Very hard to move past 25 plus people, within the last 100 or 1 or 200 yards. Yep, definitely the last lap. You can see people are a little frantic, a little desperate. Everyone except me. I don't have much urgency, but I am moving up. And in my head right here, I'm like, hey, don't mess around and give me an opportunity. I messed up the entire race, but I'm thinking, where can I find a lane? If there's a lane, I'm definitely going to take it. And again, like a rookie, I settle right into the middle of the peloton, and of course, there's nowhere to go. This guy's basically going backwards here. He's putting in his effort, but he's a little tired. And yeah, just now I'm playing the weave game. I told Marcelo earlier, I was like, go Marcelo. And I don't know if he heard me or not, but I was just trying anything I can to get through. The guy in the orange bike goes through, so I definitely just follow him up. And yeah, but I'm not trying to be too dangerous. I'm not going to be sprinting through this for, 20th place or whatever. Get a little window here, accelerate a little bit, and gentleman here in the white and blue is a little tax, and he starts to drift over, so I just shut it down. But yeah, that's it. I may sound negative, but I'm not. I'm optimistic. I'm just kind of getting back into it, and got to click that light switch and start actually racing instead of just riding. But it's a weekend down.